They'll probably say, where exactly are you going with this? I see you really trying to take it there. Old school flow, chew you out, ain't fair. Jordan Pants don't...
Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your boy Zah back at you. You already know what time it is, Savage. But anyways, man, there's something that I wanted to talk about, but I'm unable to talk about that right now. It's just a few situations that took place this week that kind of had me a little mad at the situation, as far as like the way I've seen people treat other people as far as like their own race. But I'm not gonna go in that today. I'll leave that for a future video. Might even talk about it tomorrow, but I'm still a little bit, you know, mad about that situation, because I feel like with everything that's going on in the street and people are having all these protests, that people it only participate in certain things when it can get them a certain place. I'll just say like that, like, you know what I mean? But that's besides the point, you know what I mean? What I really wanted to get into is for the people that, you know, are all into hip-hop. There's probably some people that might not know this dude's name, but there's going to be a lot that do, because when I did do an RIP, a lot of people jumped on my stories and put RIP and said his name. I never even had to say the dude's name, but that's besides the point. Why I really wanted to get on this particular video is because you got all these goofy ass dudes on the internet, you know what I mean, talking about this individual. And let me just say off the back before anybody gets it twisted, I'm not talking about this dude's opposition as far as his ops, the people that he was actually beefing with. I'm just talking about individuals that never had nothing to do with this particular individual, and that's FBG Duck. This dude had died, like, I'll just say a week ago. It hasn't, I don't think it's been an entire week, but I may be wrong. This dude, I've been following his career for quite some time, and for anybody that knows FBG Duck, dude is super disrespectful. And at first he really wasn't like that, but I guess as time went on, and then you had cats such as Chief Keef, you know, come out and start disrespecting certain individuals' name, you know, the dude fired back, and he was just so grimy with his way of disrespecting dead opposition that fools took it some type of way. And I'm not gonna get into it like all these other cats that wanna, you know, go into like how he had a price on his head, that this fool did this and this fool did that. You know, there's a lot of cats on the internet right now disrespecting this dude, this dude's death, but he did anger a lot of people, and that Chicago politics has nothing to do with LA and anybody else's business. But there's a few goofies that came on, you know, on the internet. In fact, let me just take that back. There was a lot of goofies on the internet talking about this particular individual as if they knew him or they knew anything about his music. Some cats just barely jumped on his wave and felt as if they knew him, when there's other cats that really know about this particular cat and have really been following his wave for a long time. And that's not to say, you know, that means that me or anybody else that have been following this dude knows best, but we know not to speak on things that's happened in Chicago, you know what I mean? As far as his death and whoever decided to take his life, that was between them and that individual. Now you got these cats on here trying to give examples and why dude should have changed his life. At the end of the day, dude was solid. He chose to stay in Chicago, and he was hated. He was hated. He was loved by his city, but he was also hated because he, like I said, he was an individual that was extremely disrespectful and didn't really care. And if you ever listen to any of his interviews, dude, he didn't care. He was just like whatever. And a lot of individuals hated him for that. Well, as far as his opposition, now I'm not here to get on anybody's beef. You know, beef is beef. People in LA got beef with each other all the time, and a lot of them, so much blood has been spilled that you know, it's hard to find any type of peace in that situation. But in Chicago's one of those cities, you know, that it's just grimy, you know what I mean? People don't know their politics, but they like to choose to speak on them as if they do know them. Like, people like to pit BDs against GDs and don't really know the whole story behind it. I've been with individuals that were GDs even in prison, you know what I mean, the county jail, on the streets. I know a few of them. I said in one of my stories a long time ago that a dude from GD saved my life from a dude from, you know, I ain't gonna say the neighborhood, but you know, a dude about to blow me down, but this dude was the mediator, and it wasn't like he had to, you know, do too much. His respect was there, and dude respected that fact, and seen that I was just a little kid coming to try to get my, you know, my issue, and dude was gonna serve me my issue. But like I said, this particular dude from GD, things from 500s or something like that. You know, he kept me from losing my life. So, you know, as I've ran into them, you know, I've always been good with them. It's not to say I got anything against a BD, because I know BDs. I knew some that were from Seattle. I knew some that came over here from Chicago, and then BDs in other states. But mostly the most people that I ran into was GDs. I ran into Vice Lords. I ran into Mickey Cobras, Satan Disciples. Like, I ran into a lot of different individuals. But as far as like the reason why I jumped on this dude's wave is because he was a GD and I liked his music, and I know GDs from other states. Not to say that our politics intertwine with theirs, but if you really know about their politics, you know that their shit is deep and goes really deep. But that's besides the point. Let me go into who I wanted to talk about. The dude, I'm just gonna mention this dude because this dude got his notoriety for getting touched. His whole channel was based off the fact that he got touched by another individual, and he was speaking out against it. He'd start putting dudes on blast, you know. I just say his name, man. Straight out Hassan Campbell or whatever his name is. Like, I've never had nothing against this dude. Like, I actually, when he told his story and about him, you know, having to do certain things to please another man, it made me sick to my stomach. But I noticed as time goes on, Hassan has been saying a lot of things that were just reckless. And like I said, I don't usually speak on another individual unless I absolutely got beef with this particular individual, and seeing that he's from somewhere in New York or whatever, it's not that type of party. I just don't like the fact that he jumped on the first thing he did. He knew nothing about FBG Duck, but he jumped on his channel talking about him, like, and at the same time he was trying to give him his props. He was you know, disrespecting at the same time, because you figure FBG Duck, when mom went on TV and basically did like a lot of our mothers did, you know what I mean? They don't want to, they know that we're out there doing what we do, but they try their best to keep people from painting us in a bad light. And people that don't know, that particular dude that died, he was actually doing things for his neighborhood and certain things for individuals that he was close to. He was taking care of his family, so he was doing what a man was supposed to do. Unfortunately, he was caught up in the streets, and he wouldn't leave Chicago like a lot of other cats got, and they took off. He was just stuck in Chicago, you know what I mean? Like a lot of other people in the city that are stuck in their situation. They can leave, but they choose not to because, you know, it's something that they're into. A lot of people might even be like, why are you speaking on the story? I'm speaking on it because this dude Hassan Campbell was wrong. He should have never went on his video, created a video on his channel, you know, talking about FBG Duck's mom. Should have never went on there doing that. It's like, for one, it had nothing to do with you. For two, why are you gossiping about it? And for three, that's just some whole shit. You know what I mean? As a man, you don't start attacking somebody's mom knowing that their son just died. So what if she painted Duck in a good light, that she wanted people to believe that he wasn't out on the street thugging and that he had never did nothing in his life? We're all looked at as saints to our moms, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things that I felt like that's just really disrespectful, just idiots. And not only him, like, I'm just gonna get off Hassan Campbell. I'm just gonna say he said he had a dude on his channel that's disrespectful towards, you know, Latinos too, you know what I mean? And I got on him that time, and not necessarily on him, I got on the dude that he had. I was wondering why he would put him on there. But this dude, like I said, as time went on, his channel has been all over the place. He's just like one of them, like, it's what we call hyenas and you know, cheese. He's all into chismosas, you know what I mean? He's all into cheese, man, always gossiping about somebody else's business when it has nothing to do with him, putting his opinion forth like as if it even matters. Now, he just one of the cats. Now, there's a lot of other cats talking about this dude like they actually know them. This is what I understand. And people might take it or feel some type of way about it. But look, if you're not from the streets, why are you worried about speaking on somebody from the street? You got all these dudes on the internet right now talking about this dude, and not even in a negative manner, but they just talk about it as if they know him, like as if they know anything from the street. But then when you run these dudes' profiles, I mean, they weren't out there doing nothing. They just happened to hang around a few, you know, people that were out there on the street doing something, but they never got their hands dirty in that way. They weren't on no gangsters. They weren't on none of that, but yet they want to constantly keep putting their 2 cents forward in order to feel as if they're somehow important. And a lot of cats are gonna know who I'm talking about. It's just like all these dudes on the internet talking about beefs that have nothing to do with where they live at. If the beef is in Chicago and it's between the whoever it is, that's between them. To come on here and try to paint a picture of a beef that you know nothing about is kind of funny. Now I could see if these guys came on here and they were trying to show an example to the youth, like, look, if you be a dummy, this is the road that you're gonna follow. And not saying a death, but it's just you're gonna follow this road. This is where all the dummies go, me including. I was a dummy because, you know, I got into something that led to nothing. I'm still about my neighborhood, but it's just like we were dummies, and a lot of us continues to be dummies because we're never gonna own nothing in our neighborhoods. But that's just life. You choose it, and you roll with the punches. You get what you give. You know what I mean? So, and if you give negativity is how should I say? It's brought back to you. I mean, it's another way to say it, but that's all I'm gonna say on that. But anyways, man, I'm not gonna continue with this video. That's all I want to say, man. This dude FBG Duck, let him rest in peace, and let his ops talk about him, you know, or his homies. But for cats that ain't even in that city, that feel like they know everything about it, and you barely caught the wave of this dude, you sound goofy as hell. And that's why when I hear these dudes from Chicago talking about all these dudes outside of the city talking as if they know these dudes, goofy. You don't know what type of beef was going on. You just automatically pit one against the other. Dudes went so far as to just assume that who killed them. Like, it's just that right there is just something that I really don't understand. But that's social media now. Like I said, if I have beef with somebody, I'll talk shit about them because I don't care what the consequences are. But these individuals talk it reckless and don't know nothing about the business because they've never been involved in the business. And if you listen to most of their stories, they'll tell you straight out they ain't been with none of that. You know what I mean? Which is smart. But don't get involved now. If you wasn't with it before, don't get involved now because you sound goofy as hell. And to everybody that's in Chicago listening to you talk, you sound goofy as hell. You know what I mean? It's just plain and simple. You don't know no BDs and you don't know no GDs. You know what I mean? And you don't know shit about Chicago, so just keep your mouth shut. You know what I mean? Before you end up going to one of these cities and somebody take it personal on what you said and knock you down. You know what I mean? I don't got beef with nobody in Chicago. I like all their music. I play everything from King Von to 600 Breezy, but I'm a FBG Duck fan. Well, Pappy was my number one. And you have Montana 300, and then G Herbo and Baby. That's my shit right there. But yeah, I listen to their music. You know what I mean? And I like to hear their stories on exactly how they started their music. But if you don't know the history of Chicago, man, you need to ask somebody. And I know people that know the history older than me that's been doing it for years. But that's besides the point, man. All I'm gonna say to Hassan Campbell, I don't expect you to come back on this video because it's really no disrespect to you. It's just there's just some things you shouldn't talk about, especially when you go at somebody's mom. That should be below you. You know what I mean? And seeing that your whole claim to fame is the fact that you got touched by another man, you should be a lot more sensitive to the fact. You know what I mean? But you know, it is what it is. But like I said, I'm your boy Zod. For everybody that's out there, man, be safe, enjoy the rest of your night. And this fucking smoke is a fire up the street, so it's like fucking me up. Anyways, man, you enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll be back at you later.
Kneel before Zod!